I'll give it a second. All right, it's live now. Am I still good?
Yeah, you
Yes.
good.
All right, I'm not going in and out at all for anybody.
No.
No.
Nope.
All right. Whew. All right, so good. Let's go ahead and make this public. Give me 1 second. Riots.
I'm gonna use the restroom really quick. Be right back.
All right, no problem. When you get back, let us know so I can take the live off private and put it on public.
Bum, 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 bum. Baby girl.
So far, it's flowing pretty well. I'm not getting any type of internet issues. It really was everybody being on the Wi-Fi.
All
All right.
I gotta move the hell back out, man. Jesus Christ, this freaking sucks.
Kid.
You good, Robert?
Oh, sorry. Talk to my cat.
I'm back.
You happy, ain't you?
You back?
You must be. Wait, who winning? The Lakers. The Lakers.
Lakers,
or Heat?
Lakers is kicking our ass.
They killing them.
Hey,
That
so
game
that's
over.
why Riley happy.
Yeah, this game really is over. Lakers kicking our ass, bro.
I was
Wait,
like,
over
watching
already?
Astros.
But it's only.
They beating us by like 30 points, kicking our ass. Bro.
Damn.
It's over. I'll turn it off.
I mean, what quarter is it? I can't even watch it, man. I
It's
don't
the
have
third quarter, bro. Yeah, we
I'm
didn't.
Okay.
watching.
All right, chill. I'm taking I'm taking it off of private and putting it on public. I'm about to save it now, okay? But we can keep talking about the game. I actually like the flow of the conversation. We don't need to sound so robotic. I think that's what what's bothering people before. We just sounded so robotic in it and just going through the motions. But we're gonna be clear. All right, I'm saving the changes now. It's gonna start to be on public. I guess.
All right, cool.
And we are live and it's completely public, and people can see us, hear us now. And yes, the Heat is getting their ass whooped by the Lakers.
Too bad I
Bruh.
can't watch the game.
Nah, I
Yeah,
can't,
guys.
man. I can't even watch it, man. I just went ahead and turn it off. I can't stand this. Anyway, y'all, welcome to the first episode of the Speak Up podcast. Of course, we had to go ahead and try this all over again. I'll go ahead. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I am Volsty Thoughts.
I am Michi.
I'm off.
I'm Riley.
And I'm the Wire Intellect. Also, you can refer to me as Nep. One of those names.
Yeah, how do you say the entire thing anyway? Because I always just said Nep. How do you say the entire thing?
Well, just you can just refer to me as Noir. Noir Intellect.
Yeah,
Noir means black in French.
yeah. Of course,
Yeah,
you know I'm Zoe, so I'm already gonna
the
know
whole
this.
time I thought it was Noir. Noir, yeah.
Nah, it's noir, and French is noir.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get the conversation going back up again. We do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, for our first run. We had some technical difficulties, but we are back. and we want to go ahead and start off with our introductions all over again. The last time people couldn't hear us, so let's go ahead and do it again. Um, let's go in order this time. Let's see. Let's start off with Michi. Can you let us know who you are, what you're about, and what you believe about Black empowerment?
Yeah, I'm Michi. I'm from Alabama. When it comes to Black empowerment, I'm all about supporting Black businesses, the financial side, and the Black community mentally. That's where I stand on it.
Awesome, awesome. All right, math. Is it Moth or math?
It's Moth, like Mafia, but Moth.
Moth. All right,
Yeah.
that sounds good. All right, Moth. Yeah, you next. Go ahead and let us know where you're from, what you're about, and what you believe about Black empowerment.
Yeah, my name is Moth. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I live in Houston, Texas. Black empowerment means to me pretty much that we lift each other up. We give another Black person an opportunity that we didn't have or that we learned along the way. Passing on any information that we gained along our lifespan and stuff, and passing on to another brother who didn't get the opportunity. Focusing on educating each other, getting us back into the trades, and getting that back into our community. Showing a brother a new way. If he never had the opportunity to learn a way. That's kind of where I stand with it. That's what it means to me.
Sounds good. Sounds good. How about you, Queen Riley? Let's go ahead and let's move on to you. Who are you, and what do you think about Black empowerment?
I'm Riley, and what I think what Black empowerment is basically more good representation and power for Black people with economics, education, politics, and beauty, and mental health.
Awesome. And last but not least, let's go with the Noir intellect.
Okay, so my name is Noir. I'm from North Carolina, and I'm a software engineer. Graduated from HBCU. So basically, what I'm about is like I'm basically just about helping Black people any way possible, and whether it's economically, politically, whatnot. And what Black empowerment means to me is Black empowerment is all about empowering Black people in many different ways. But the three or four key ways, I believe. Yeah, it's like economically, helping Black people start their own businesses, helping Black people get business loans, you know, get loans for buying houses and whatnot, so they can you know, they can mortgage their houses. Uh, Also helping Black people start investments, start their own businesses and whatnot. Um, Also helping Black people get more political power. So when it comes to voting for the right people, people that look like you, or at least people who are from your own environment that understand exactly what best benefits you in the local elections. Um, and then as well as education. So Black people learning various skills that can help assist in empowering themselves, or finding a good job that pays very well, or learning a skill that can help a person start their own business or whatnot, or at least be a contractor or something for someone else, something like that. So I would say, yeah, those are the key areas that are important in terms of Black empowerment for me.
All right. Appreciate it. Now for me, I am Volsi Thoughts, or you just call me Volsi if you like. Um, and I'm from Miami, Florida. My parents are from outside the country of Haiti. And what Black empowerment is to me is very similar to Noir, which is the aspects of improving ourselves politically, economically, and socially. Politically, by having not just more representation, but our policies and beliefs put forward through legislation. Economically, by not only just building more Black businesses, but expanding them, making them more dynamic, making them more expansive. One example that I always like to give is that there is no Black-owned version of Lockheed Martin, which is an engineering firm that makes F-16 jets. There is no black-owned version of Snickers. There is no black-owned version of Coca-Cola. If you were going over to Asia, you will find those. You may even find some of those in America. They can sell to the American market, but there's no black-owned version of those. So we need to expand our businesses dynamically, upscale them in that fashion. And socially, meaning just our image, just the way that we look around the world, because we all know that white supremacy is not only in the United States. White supremacy expands itself across the world in a way that they portray the image. The default American is white. The default American is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white dude. You know what I mean? And that's kind of fine. That's okay, because at the end of the day, they're 75% of the country. Of course, the default American is gonna be white. So, but we also have a problem where the default American criminal is black, and we see that in all the media across the planet. So that right there needs to be something that's fixed. The default American doesn't need to be white. The default American criminal doesn't need to be black. I think that's what we need to do.
Yeah, I agree because typically that's how it is. The stereotype of the American male is usually a white guy and the criminal is a black guy. I feel like stereotypes play a big role as well when it comes to black empowerment and the black community in general, because when people look at us, they see stereotypes. They see the regular stereotypes. And I feel like we need to break those. Not so much as like taking away from our culture or anything, but just like showing that we're not all about that. We have more to us than that.
Yeah, I guess branching off into the stereotype aspect. One thing I do is I actually always try to but there's a stereotype that black people don't tip very well. So I always try to make sure I tip at or above the average, whatever the average is for tipping, which is supposed to be like 15, 20%. I usually try to tip that or above if it's good service. I know my dad, he used to always do that. He just used to tip like pretty well at restaurants and whatnot to try to break the stereotype that black people don't tip well.
Yeah, the thing about that is that I think a lot of stereotypes become self-fulfilling prophecies. And the reason why I said that, like, for example, your black people don't tip well example, they become self-fulfilling prophecies because, like, if a person is a waiter and they go into the job thinking, oh, a black person is gonna tip well, what are they gonna do? They're not gonna treat you well either. You know what I mean? And because they don't treat you well, we end up not tipping well. But for a lot of us, in order for us to break that stereotype, a lot of us will take crappy services and still tip very, very well. And I think that damages us as well, because it's a double-edged sword, and it's kind of a no-win situation, because you treat us like crap and we don't tip well. It fulfills the stereotype. But you treat us like crap and we tip well, that puts into their mind as, oh, okay, they don't care that we treat them like crap then, and they'll continue doing it to every single black person that walks in there and still get their tips. So we're either rebellious and ungrateful, or we're subservient. You know what I mean? And it becomes a problem later on in the future. I want to know what do y'all think of how do these stereotypes can either become self-fulfilling, or if us trying to break them so much becomes a no-win situation. What do you guys think about that?
I'll offer even a third viewpoint. I got a friend. It's kind of interesting. He was a waiter at a restaurant for like 4 years or something, right? And he said that he just kept saying that the black people were the worst tippers. And he said he always tried to provide everybody best service, but he said specifically they were like, I hate to say it, but he said specifically bigger black women, they would demand too much and then not tip very well. Like they would basically, if you give them exactly what they ordered, he said they would try to figure out a way to say that there was something that was wrong with the order, and then they'll try to either get something free or he said they'll basically kind of give him a hard time, and then basically they don't tip him well, even if he tries to do everything that is, I guess, legal, or everything that is within the bounds of what he can do as a waiter to to basically satisfy them, and they still won't tip very well. But in terms of, I guess, stereotypes being self-fulfilling, I guess I can kind of see that. I mean, I don't tip someone well if they provide me bad service. But if someone does provide me good service, I will tip the expected amount, if not above that. But if someone is provides me bad service, they forget to refill my drink, or you know, they don't check on me very often, or they're kind of like got a rude attitude, they're not gonna get a good tip on me. I'm not gonna be a pushover with that aspect. So
It's kind of
Exactly.
interesting because, like, a lot of black people don't know how to tip. Like, they don't know how to. They don't know what they're supposed to give. They don't look at the ticket or any of that. So I think it's important to, like, shed light on if you're getting good service, what you should actually give. Some people think $5 is a good tip. Like, as crazy as it may seem, but they do. So I don't think that we don't. I feel like a lot of black people don't know how to tip. They don't know what to really give. Because I remember, like a couple months ago, me and my family went out to eat, and my sister was talking about it, and my mom was like, "Are you gonna tip?" And she left like $3 right there, and my sister thought she was like doing something, and we were all looking at her like, "Girl, what?" And she's like 19. So that was kind of sad to see. So I think we should like inform others on how to do that, what to give when you're receiving good service. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Hey, Bossy, what was the original question again?
The original question is, do you think stereotypes can become self-fulfilling prophecies? As an example of the tipping, but there are also stereotypes that we have, such as the criminal aspect of ladies. You know how the old white lady clutching her purse whenever a young black man passes by. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think a lot of that feeds into us as well, because like as a young person, I knew me personally as a young man when I would walk down the street and I would notice, certain people of a certain race, either white, Asian, or otherwise, who are not black, be afraid of me when I'm walking down because I'm just wearing a hoodie. I mean, the only reason I was in sweats and a hoodie is because I'm in track. They make us wear those things to sweat us out, make us lose weight, make us build muscle,
Right.
things like that. That's the only reason I'm wearing it for. I'm not trying to rob anybody. But when I'm walking home, walking down the street, coming from school, I would see them either clutch their purse, walk across the street. You know what I mean? And that builds a lot of anger in me. I mean, that builds a lot of anger, and it becomes to a point where, all right, if you want me to be this person, I might as well, beat your ass and do it. You feel me? Like I think a lot of people start, yeah, I think a lot of people start to think that way, where like if you're gonna say that I'm like this, I might as well do it. Yeah, I mean, and it's and because at the end of the day, just like I said, socially, I want us to improve because in the media we don't have a very good image. There is a criminal stereotype of us. Even though we're trying to break that, a lot of TV shows right now are trying to break that. Of course, like with shows like Law and Order, shows like Blackish, A Different World was one of my favorite shows growing up. I really think that they need to reboot that and bring that up. Grownish also tries to break that stereotype. Dear Black People tries to break that stereotype. But even though there are all these shows and all these movies that try to break that stereotype for us, at the end of the day, that stereotype is still there. You will still go to rural America, walk down the street, and a white person or an Asian person will walk the other way or walk across the street or clutch their purse, or they'll just shoot at you because they think you're a criminal. I mean, look what happened a few months ago with Ahmed Aubrey. The dude was just jogging and he got killed for it. You know what I mean? It still exists. So I think with all this, it plays on our mentality so much where we start to think that if uh if this is what they believe about us, I might as well go balls to the wall and do it. You know what I mean? What I'm just wondering, like, what do you like besides the tipping thing, other stereotypes that are placed on us? Do y'all think they play so much on our mentality that they become self-fulfilling prophecies at the end of the day?
Mm, mm.
Bless you. Let's
What's not
hear
all
from
what's not all
Riley.
go at once.
Yeah, let's all hear from Riley, because I haven't heard you spoken a little bit.
So the question is, how do I think stereotypes are self-fulfilling prophecies?
Yeah, do you believe that a lot of stereotypes play so much on our mentality that they start to become self-fulfilling prophecies, such as the criminal stereotype, such as black people not tipping well, such as black women being so over sexualized? Do you think they become self-fulfilling prophecies? And in a few minutes after you, Riley, I'm gonna take a question from one of our guests, which is Federal Ranger. He says right here, if you guys can see it, we have to remember that some stereotypes are rooted in truth.
I can't disagree with him on that, but yeah, we'll get to that after Riley speaks.
I was just gonna say that. I was gonna say like some stereotypes are based on truth, but I do can see that like the subservient thing you guys are talking about. I don't have anything actually to say on this.
Well, I think no, because like one of the stereotypes like you was mentioning B is like they make black people seem like we're criminals, when in actuality there's more white criminals than black criminals. We do more violent crimes, yes, but and we talking about crimes in general, there's more white people that do more crimes than we do. So why aren't they getting bashed? Like why aren't they names out? Like I'm sure most of the theft charges, white people that's in prison, they're in prison for theft and stuff like that. So why aren't they getting bashed? Why aren't they names getting thrown in the dirt? Because we are. And one of the reasons why we have that stereotype is because of the communities we're in. You can't. I mean, I'm one to blame the individual, as y'all all know, but I mean, at some point you have to look at the community too. You have no education. There's no work. There's nothing in those communities. Like for example, I'm from New Orleans and I grew up in the Zaire projects. Like in the projects, there's like nothing for nobody out there. Like all there is like hustle, 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 hustle. So that's all they got to do. And with hustle, it comes with that. It comes haters. You get enemies. You get in this lifestyle that you really have no choice but to be in because there's no other option for you. So what we need to do, or what they can do, is give us more opportunities. I think that stereotype would change, but ultimately, there's more white criminals than black criminals. So that's why I don't think that that's true. They just make us feel that way, I guess.
They're never gonna give us the opportunity. They don't want to see us win. They don't, and that's really why they don't get recognition when it comes to crime and stuff like that. They want us to fail. They expect us to fail. They're never gonna give us that quote unquote opportunity. We have to prove them wrong. I mean, it may suck that they may do more crimes than we do, and we could, do the tick for tack thing all day long. But when it comes down to it, we have to prove them wrong if we want to show them that, who we really are, and that we're not what they say we are. And even if we are what they say we are, we still have to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I say even if the stereotype is there, I mean, it's definitely not. It's never good to play into something that's negative, though. Like if you have a choice or have the ability to avoid playing into something, I definitely have to say you can see me. You can view me any kind of way you want to view me as. I'm still not that. I know what I am, and I'm self-defined. I'm not defined by anybody else.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, one thing that I think we all need to remember and recognize is that black people were criminalized from the beginning of this country. Ever since slavery ended, black people were criminalized. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't realize that during the like right now, for example, there's a huge statistic, which is a big problem, which is like, black folks are like about 40, I think 50% of the prison population. If that's correct.
No, it's 37%. It's 37%.
37% of the prison population, but only 13% of the American population, which is a huge problem. And I agree with it. Here's one thing that a lot of us don't realize. Back in the 1920s, that was the same number. We were about 25 to 30% of the prison population, and only about 11 to 10% of the country back then. And we all know that back then, back in the 1920s, the 1930s, and 1940s, they would do anything in their power to put a black person in jail. You looked at a white woman wrong, you went to jail if you didn't get killed. You know what I mean? So this has been a thing for us since the beginning. The stereotypes of us being criminalized has been there from the beginning. Um, so it's I don't want us to focus so much on proving someone wrong to just doing what we have to do and basically what I'm saying is that don't do things to prove someone else wrong. Do
Yep.
things because it improves you. You know what I mean?
would just
I don't want
Yep,
to.
be just self-defined.
Right. I think we need to be self-deterministic in that aspect where we're not always focused on I need to get my A's, I need to get this certain type of job and have this certain type of money in order for white people to see me better. We don't need to operate in that mode of operation anymore. Like I grew up in that mode of operation, and I decided you know what, fuck that. I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm gonna do this because it improves me. You see what I mean? And I think a lot with black culture is reactionary. A lot of things we do in our community is reactionary. We basically do things because there was a negative, something negative or something positive response from white people, and we don't need to be doing that anymore, in my opinion. I want to know what y'all think.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like what you're speaking about. It almost sounds like an example of I believe it was called operational conditioning or something like that in psychology. It's almost like whatever the reaction is from white people, we adjust our behavior collectively in order to get a positive reaction out of them, or like if we get a negative reaction, then we adjust our behavior. Or like I kind of agree with what you're saying. I don't want us to get into the mindset of trying to, I guess, please them or get into the mindset where we want their validation. Basically, I don't really care about their validation. I care about, like you said, self-determinism. I care about my own, like defining myself for myself and benefiting myself, as well as benefiting black people as well. Whatever benefits black people, that's something I will support. It doesn't really, it's outside of the bounds of what anybody else thinks. If they happen to think better of it, then whatever, I don't really care. But if it's something that I just think that from my own life experiences and my own perspective, if I think it's benefiting black people or benefiting myself, that's something that I think we should go forward with. And it doesn't really matter what white people think of it. And that's my opinion on that.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
think that's the mode of operation that we as black folks need to start feeling as at the moment, like for example, I have a very good example of guns, weapons. That's probably my go-to example. A lot of my my parents' generation, the excuses that they would give for me to not have a weapon or not have a gun is because they will say that either I'll get arrested or I'll get killed because white people don't want black people to have guns. You know what I mean? And I will operate with the motto is like, who cares if they want us to have guns or not? Just to protect myself, I'm gonna get one. You know what I mean? We can't keep operating in the mode of what is this white person going to think? And I don't want this conversation to delve into we hate white folks or not, and nothing like that. I really don't. You know what I mean? Because I've always said pro-black does not mean anti-white. You know what I mean? Pro-black doesn't mean that if you go to college and there's a white kid sitting next to you, you might have to move from him because you don't like white people. It doesn't mean that at all. Pro-black doesn't mean I'm anti-white. That just means that you want your community to do better, and you recognize that there are issues in your community and you want it to be better. That's what pro-black means to me, at least. You know what I mean? So I don't want anyone to take this as basically we don't want to listen or we don't like or anything like that with white folks. I'm saying collectively as a community, our mode of operation shouldn't be a reactionary to what the dominant society is going to react to. We should react to how it's going to benefit us. How do we how do we persevere and move forward in our community? My
Right.
bad. I think you were about to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I don't well, just to add on a little bit to what you were saying just now, like the fact is I don't really see white people not wanting us to have guns or necessarily all white people judge us, because that's not true. And you know that, Eric, we all know that. I personally have a few white friends who love that I have guns. We talk about it. That's kind of one of our biggest conversation and interests we have is guns, and ultimately I go to the shooting range with a lot of white people too as well. So there's out here as a minority of the majority, if that makes sense, that actually do like us and don't see us as, like, I guess, animals per se. So yeah, back to what you were saying though. Yeah, I think that if we just focus on ourselves individually, kind of what Nep was saying just now, we just I think that way we can just sorry, I was reading the comment, but yeah, that way we can just we build ourselves. We shouldn't have to worry about what anybody think of us, even our own people. Just focus on yourself. If there is a brother who want to join your platform or want to be a part of what you're doing, he asks, or you just offer it to him and he's like interested, and yeah, of course, bring him on, and then he can focus on himself and what he's doing because you taught him that. But and then he can help somebody else that way, and vice versa. It keep going on, like it just goes down and goes down. So just focus on yourself, do what you can for your community. The stereotype shouldn't matter as long as you're doing it right. Because kind of like you said, it doesn't really matter how somebody look at you if you're doing the right thing. You just do it.
Exactly.
Exactly, I agree. One
So
thing I want to
can
hear
we
from.
address what the question or the statement that the one guy said about you know some stereotypes are kind of based in truth?
Oh yeah. We definitely gotta address that. Some stereotypes are based in truth, and this is what I want to hear from the ladies, because some stereotypes are based in truth, but one of the big stereotypes that the black community has, I'm not sure if you guys noticed it or not, is that our women are hypersexualized. This has been a big conversation in the past few years about the sexualization of not only black women but black girls too, little girls, especially with that movie that just came out on Netflix, which caused a huge controversy, was Cuties. um the conversation came up again, and it's a constant conversation of not just protecting black women, but like, how do we control the stereotype of hypersexualization? I want to know from Riley and Michi, do y'all feel the hypersexualization of black women, does that stereotype, is it rooted in any type of truth, or is it some BS that was created back in during the 1920s, just how the hyper rapist attitude of black men was created back in the 1920s? What do you guys think? Let's
I
start with
mean,
Michi, then we'll go to Riley.
I feel like it's definitely true. I can't say that it's not true, but I feel like that whole thing starts at home. Like I feel like that starts at home. Like young girls, young black girls especially, without fathers being in the homes and stuff, like it's not really talked about, but they get touched on by family members, cousins, uncles, all that. And like it it becomes something that gets buried deep, and then when they grow up and then they're doing stuff like OnlyFans, or black girls are insecure, they wear weave and all that. Like, what do people think that originate from? It comes from the household, it comes from childhood, because if anybody is not protected in the black community, it's little black kids. Little black boys and little black girls are unprotected. They just are. And I feel like we definitely need to change that.
All right, cool. I like that. What you think, Riley?
I feel like we weren't before, but we're becoming like more people are becoming hypersexual because like what they see on media, and they think they have to be that certain stereotype to get like the guy they want.
I feel like another reason why females steer that way is because they don't feel wanted or appreciated. So they feel like they have to act a certain type of way to get validation from a man. And like I said again, it starts at home. with lack of fathers in the home or male role models. But I feel like that's another reason why black females are like that.
Another thing is like a lot of like black women, they get like the main thing they get praised for is like their body shape, and so like they'll try to flatten it off more because like that's the one thing like people really not like people constantly say they like in like media and stuff.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like we have like now today we'll have like 13, 14-year-old girls who are like literally filled all the way out. And we have grown ass men out here looking at them in inappropriate ways. And they act towards them in inappropriate ways because they look like a woman or they have the body type of a woman, and it's not cool. It happens a lot.
Yeah, those are two definite big issues that I see within the community as well. Where you know, I mean, it's kind of like almost like pedophilia being accepted, where just grown as men, lusting after 14, 15-year-old girls, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was 14, 15, you know what I mean? Of course, like I noticed women, you know what I mean? But like once I became when I noticed the girls in my class when I was 14, 15 years old. I noticed the girls in my class developing. But when I became, 20, 21, 23, 27, a 14-year-old girl was just like a kid to me. You know what I mean? So I've never quite understood the mode of operation of these dudes that would be 19, 20, 25 years old and sleeping with 14-year-olds. Like it's crazy to me. I never really understood that. All right, y'all. So real quick, I do want to go ahead and welcome one of my homies. His name is Federal Ranga. He was in the our chat, and now he wants to add to the stream. So please welcome Federal Ranga, guys.
Welcome,
Fed, you
welcome.
hear me?
Hey,
Yep,
welcome to the
yep,
chat,
yep.
man. Welcome to the live stream.
Thank you. I don't know if y'all can hear me, but I hope I'm coming in clear.
We hear you, you
Loud
good.
and clear.
Okay, you good?
Thank Jesus for T-Mobile and this phone, being able to walk out in the streets on my nightly walk. I hope everyone's doing well tonight. This is a great conversation, and I would love to jump in and address several things and introduce different perspectives, starting with the hypersexualization of our black women. Now, I feel like in this particular instance, there's one thing that's probably not spoken of when, and I want to refer to, our white counterparts as just that, our white counterparts. Our culture as black people and brown people, we really live by the code of being fruitful and multiplying. So what they consider hypersexualization is just what we've always been doing. Our women are beautiful. They are built to, have many children. We come from cultures where, having a big family is a big thing because, it's great for the community. You got to understand that we as brown people understand that, the ability to socialize and have strength in numbers starts with the family. So what we've been doing for centuries, eons even, was just new to the white man. So when I feel like when they saw what we've done and probably didn't do that in their culture, it's like, okay, well, that's too many kids, that's too many wives, that's too many this, that's too many that. And now it became a bad thing because that's something that wasn't accepted in their culture. And they decided to demonize it on our side, which internally over the years made it look bad to us. Like when most our homeboy Kamo got 11 kids, same woman, what I'm saying, married and everything, beautiful, ended up on a website. Like we don't see enough of that anymore. And because people made it sound like, oh, they need to have this, they need to have that. No, like if you find a way to make it happen, make it happen. And I feel like in that particular instance with the hypersexualization of women, that's just a different perspective. I think played a role into making it look like a bad thing. I feel like if your women are beautiful, it's we can't help how good we damn look. That's just what it is, Like so, if if our women have the ability to be attractive to several suitors, and want to, reproduce with the person that they ultimately chose, that's the way we've always been. There's never been anything wrong with it. But when you come from a culture that doesn't do that, it's foreign. And of course, in multiplying the way that we do, in ways that we can sustain it, we're a threat, because not only are we multiplying, we're multiplying in droves, quickly, twins, triplets, and then there are no weak children in the meantime. You don't have like one sick child and two structured. We have like loads of healthy children. So how do you slow that up? You make it you make it look a certain way to the people who are doing it the most, and over time you kind of beat it into theirs that this is not the way it works. I think we're slowly getting back to the point where we understand that, hey, this is what we've always done, just that now, with technology and whatnot, we have to make sure we do it properly, because having the children is easy, taking care of them is hard. Back then it wasn't, but now it's, because of things that they have done, of course, made it difficult to make those huge, bountiful families easy to maintain, or even like appealing to the eye.
I feel like the definition has changed when we're talking about over-sexualized women then and over-sexualized women now. Yeah, back then it was like one man, 5, 6, 12, 11 kids. Hell, my grandmother had 12. But now it's like a female and a male have a kid, okay, child support, next, have another kid, child support, next. It's like we're not having families. We're having a bunch of broken families.
Now, in
I feel
that
like
particular instance, oh, go ahead.
I don't know, like if I go like that, if you go back farther back, you see like white people have like a whole bunch of kids too, and they need like to do that to like have them work on their farms and stuff. But like for black people, I feel like ever since they got out of slavery, it was already hard for them to even take care of their family, because like no one really wanted to hire black people because they were already slaves.
Right, I was gonna bring that up as well. I think having a lot of kids did happen with white folks as well. I think one of the main differences was a difference of like expression. You know what I mean? Black folks all around the world are extremely expressive. We all know that. I don't think there's one culture of black folks who don't tell stories with their hands. You know what I mean? Or sound effects. You know what I mean? We all do that, from Jamaican people to Haitian people to Nigerian people to Kenyans to African Americans to even Canadians. We all just very, our mannerisms is to be expressive. And I think when it comes to something like sex, which is a very human thing, we all enjoy that. We all love to have sex with our people that we love and people who are attractive. We're just very, very so expressive about it that other folks are just not used to that. You know what I mean? When Europeans first had contact with Africans, and we had literal chants and songs and dances about making love, that was something that just they weren't used to. You feel me? If you listen to old jazz music, like the lyrics were super sexual. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like if you think WAP, like with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, if you think WAP is dirty, that's normal. You feel me? That stuff like that, I think the cultural difference right there, where it was normal for us to talk about stuff like that, it wasn't normal for them to talk about stuff like that. You feel what I'm saying? Or in that way, it wasn't normal for them to talk about it in that way. But for us, it was very, very normal. Exactly, to be so open and honest with it. You know what I mean? And I think that's the root of women, our black women being hypersexual, because not only, just like how Fed said, very gorgeous women, we have very beautiful women, but they talked about sex in an open and honest way that not a lot of cultures outside of us did. You know what I mean? Asian, certainly did. So
I'm glad you said that. So let's talk about being open and candid about the way we speak about our sexual relations with our black women. I'm gonna say this, and people can take it how they want. What can you name some things, just to start it off? Just follow me for a second. Can you name how many things can you really name that is better, seriously, than making love to a sister. No bullshit. Follow me for a second, right? When you are coming in a time of hardship, when people don't have money, they don't have opportunities, poor people can do two things: have sex and look for opportunities. Like when you don't have too much going on, like going back to like even if you see, and I go back to even with the thing with like with white people having a lot of children, there was like very extremes between those white people that were having a lot of children. Either they were already like rich and they could afford it, or dirt poor and that's all they were damn doing. It's like we ain't got no money, we home all the time. If we ain't doing something to try to make a way, we're having sex. Like you find that I find that some of the biggest white families that I know that sorry for the truck that have a lot of children are either people that have a lot of money or they're on the far opposite end where they're like extremely poor and they have a lot of kids. I feel like with our culture that there wasn't a disparity as far as like the amount of children that we had. But going back to the hypersexualization part, I don't think, and this might sound a little off, but I'm gonna risk it. I don't think that a song, not saying that there are none out there, about sexual relations with women of, I'm just gonna say white women because everybody else is brown. It don't hit the same. It doesn't give you that fantasy. It doesn't give you that. Now that might contribute. No, I almost say it might. It does contribute to the way our black women are viewed. But to be fair, in terms of the stereotype, this is what I say about stereotypes being based in truth. Like, I'm sorry, like there's nothing for me like seeing one of our sisters and going, good Lord, she's beautiful, she's attractive, she's hot. Oh, I'd fuck her. You know what I'm saying? Like one being, respectable and the other one being, not respectful, but still just thoughts in my head. Not that I have to express those things, but I know that there are many other people that feel the same way and are artists who feel the need, for whatever reason, to express that in their music videos and whatnot. It's almost like what some people can, view as, hypersexualization, putting it out on Front Street, I almost view as a celebration of, the many different, shades, sizes, and varieties of our beautiful women. Like you got for every, how does it feel by D'Angelo, you gotta back that ass up, or a, doo-wop that thing by Lauryn Hill over to Wobble by VIC. Like I see it all as celebration and something that we take pride in because, there used to be a time where that was kind of like shunned upon and we turned into something like more celebratory than ever. But that's just me. Y'all thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I actually agree with that. That actually goes back to my opinion that our mode of operation shouldn't be how white folks react to it. You feel me? Like that it's like how you were saying that we can go from how does it feel from D'Angelo to all the way to back that ass up. You know what I mean? And both of those are celebrations of black women, and I don't believe one is more disrespectful than the other, or one should be more praised than the other. You feel me? Both are celebrations of on just how gorgeous our women are. Yeah, you feel me? So I do actually agree with that. Now as far as hypersexualization goes, we do have a comment from one of our white followers. As a matter of fact, he's a friend of mine. What's up, Andrew? Shout out to Andrew. And he says this: having tons of kids being left with single mothers or grandmothers is what draws heavy judgment. And he also says, I don't think the vast majority of white people care as much about married black couples having tons of kids. What do y'all think about that?
Oh well, right before I get into that, I just want to say that can we even, if we're gonna own up to the music and the culture and stuff that is very honest and candid, of course, and very very open about our sexual energy and stuff. We really say we're being over sexualized, or can we just say that we're being viewed upon we're just being viewed upon the way over sexualized in terms of how other people would view themselves. Like if they were to do this same thing that we're doing, they would just say, you know what, this is over sexualization, and for us this is normal. Actually, that's more of a hypothetical question. I don't really want anyone
It
doesn't
depends
have
on
to
what
respond to
you
that if
look
they want to.
at as
So
personal or private.
yeah.
Um,
So I would say that if we agree, and if we're not, if we're fine with owning up those aspects of our culture, then we can't really say we're over sexualized, because over sexualized in terms of what? In terms of a standard that was placed upon us rather than a standard that we accept. So that's all I really want to say to wrap up that topic. And
um,
also when he said that you want to say something?
no, I was about to say, yo, that's something profound that you actually just said. You know, what I mean, that's a standard that if it's like you said, if we're accepting this as part of our culture and we love it about ourselves, why would we accept that stereotype, or why would we have a problem with it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the
You're
standard
right.
that is set.
Yeah, you
It's a
can't.
standard that we accept. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you legit can't shame something that we've been doing and have been proud of that has harmed no one up to this point for as
Yeah.
long as we've been on this planet. So, like, if anyone's got a problem with it, it's not like some black person just woke up one day and was like, you know what, this is too much. I don't like it. It wasn't us.
I
Mhm.
Right.
mean, technically, you can
But
fault something when it becomes detrimental.
I mean, and that's what I wanted to get into. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and put those two comments up on again. What Andrew says is, I don't think the vast majority of white people care as much about a married black couple having tons of kids. Having tons of kids being left with single mothers or grandmothers is what draws heavy judgment. I think that's part of the over sexualization of women having children and being single mothers, or being left with the grandmother and things like that. As far as that goes, I don't. I think that plays into the over sexualization stereotype.
there's a lot of
Or the
things.
hyperprotection stereotype, but I honestly believe that's a separate issue of us
Definitely a
having.
separate
That's actually
issue.
irresponsibility, but it actually plays into a lot of other issues.
I'm glad you said that with irresponsibility, because like if you have one child, with the guy, and for whatever reason it does not, pan out how it should be, the next thing you should do should not be, rushing to have another child with anyone. I don't care if you're madly in love with the next person you see or whatever. Like, you really got to think this through. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
the reason why no one says anything, nobody bats an eye when like a black married couple has a bunch of children, because they have already made the decision, at least in the eyes of, the law, the government, the Lord, that no matter what happens, how many children they have, they're going to find a way. Whereas when you see a single mother or a grandmother, someone in that relationship, after that child was born, gave up or was taken out of the equation by choice or by force. But because they don't know how, all they see is who's not there and how that looks. And instead of trying to understand what caused that, it's like, okay, the assumption is this person made the decision for this to happen. And that's usually not the case. I'm not saying it's never the case, but it's usually not the case. And that's not fair to our women to say, okay, well, they just like having kids. No, the hell they don't. Like, when you are putting, a lot of money into, children, and then you take away the fact that a breadwinner or, another source of income is being taken out of the equation because of whatever, rules and laws are put into place that made this essentially lottery ticket at this point, what's been given, which should have been just like a bouncing ball of life. That changes the dynamic of why children are born and why women are going out there. Because, like, damn, what if my job doesn't pay this much? What if I do need this? What if I do need that? What if this happens, that happens? This money that's going to be given to me because I have this child now, or this support that's going to be given to me because I have this, that I can change the decision-making process. Because it's like, okay, do I try to apply myself and get, a higher paying job, go back to school or whatever? But then it's like, I have this child. I can't just do that because I need a babysitter. I need this, I need that, I need that because I need food. And now it's like, okay, you can't do this. I can get these stamps. I can get this welfare. I can get this WIC. I can get, this Section 8, whatever. Like, you're essentially stealing a better opportunity from someone in the form of a child. And that's not right to assume that this is something that we want to do. I don't think any woman wants to like have a baby and go, you know what, I'm gonna have a kid because I want government assistance. I don't think there are a lot of women that do that.
I think there's plenty. Um, I just think it depends on the environment you in, the area you grow up in. Like growing up in New Orleans, I mean, that's kind of was a very common thing that I seen. Like women purposely having babies to get those benefits. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a shame, you know, but in some areas like that's exactly what's going on. You know, like the whole area is like dependent on that pretty much. So you just have a bunch of kids running around with no supervision, you know, just getting into the wrong things. Obviously getting into the streets, that's the main problem. And then that becomes like a stereotype. And then, you know, they got girls out here who grown up in the same environment who love those type of dudes. You know, that's the type of dudes, that's all they know, you know, so that's who they go for. And like those dudes that want to serious, they just want to fuck whatever they can, you know, like y'all all know how it is, you know what I'm saying? Like they out here like that. And I used to be that dude, you know, like so it's just I feel like it starts with the women just want to make better decisions for themselves. Like, okay, you grew up in that environment, you see that kind of dude, but you do know what he's doing is wrong. You know, yeah, he bringing money in, yeah, it's coming in quick. You know, I see it's a lot, you know, but like, you know, it's wrong, you know, so don't go with that dude. You know, I'm like, just don't. You know, I know it looks good, but like, you know, he's doing something wrong. You know, like when there's a lot of brothers out here, and personally, I feel like if it's a person outside your race that's doing good, and you see something in him, date him too. You know, like because it's all about building the foundation for you. You know, like you got to make sure whatever you're doing is right, and who's with you is right. You know, like if y'all not on
Facts.
the same energy, it won't work. It just won't work. So
And
this is where it
Vosi,
starts.
we actually my bad. Vosi, we actually spoke about that about 2 years ago on a Let's Argue thing, right? When we was talking about like
Uh-huh.
how some decisions are made by women, um, not because it's necessarily the best decision, but because it satisfied, you know, the speed of their patience. You know,
Right.
because think about it,
Delayed
which it's
gratification.
about what's going to happen faster, right? Can
Right.
I get this dope boy to like trick off for me right now? Buy this for me, do it with him. He got the money now. Or can I get this assistance? I can get that in a couple of days. Or can I like grind for this extra money that might take me, you know, some months or years to get to, which at that point isn't even guaranteed. Like that's messed up. And I feel like in terms of hypersexualization, I feel like this is another role that plays something into it where I would define hypersexualization as far as like how our white counterparts see it as the sexualization essentially being used as a tool to gain the things that should be available to everyone without using sex. Like if a woman didn't have to like date the dope boy or have a bunch of children to get this assistance, she probably wouldn't like do those things. I'm not saying she wouldn't at all, but there's a much lower chance of that being, you know, a thing. It's like, okay, if better opportunities were given as and in addition to, you know, better decision making, the sexualization wouldn't even play a role in these kind of scenarios. You know, that's just what I think, ladies.
Got you. Yeah,
All right,
I
I'll
do
catch y'all
think.
later, man. I gotta drop off.
Oh yeah. I'm about to say that we gotta say goodbye to Noir Intellect for right now. Thanks, bro. Until next time. Until episode 2. All right.
Yep. All right, y'all have a good
All
one.
right, brother. See you later. Yeah.
Peace.
I do want to start because it's kind of been the men talking about this for a while now. I do want to hear from Riley, who's our lady now. I think I got a message from Michi. She's gonna be back soon. But Riley, I do definitely want to hear from you now.
And she
We've lost
she
Riley.
just
No.
Yeah, we lost Riley. Maybe she'll be back in a few minutes. But I do definitely want to touch on that the issue of delayed gratification. We need to address that in our community because the issue of delayed gratification doesn't only hit sex; it also hits things like just like how you were saying, our pockets. You know, some money. That's why a lot of dudes become dope dealers. I feel because I've heard it from dudes who I knew became dope dealers. Okay, Riley's back. There she is. I knew some dudes who became dope dealers that said that just going to school, the money wasn't fast enough. You know what I mean? They had to pay something the next week. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, hunger sucks a lot. Being hungry is not fun. You know what I mean? So the best example I could give of this is the song by KRS-One, "Love's Gonna Get You." You know what I mean? Like he only had beans and rice on his shelf, And if a dude comes up to him to do this delivery, gives him $400 for it, he does that twice. That's $800 in 1 week that he wouldn't have gotten, any other way. You know what I'm saying? So I understand, like, if he delayed that gratification, it would have got to a point where $800 would have been nothing for him because he was a smart kid in school. He could have become an engineer or a doctor, so $800 would have been nothing. But that's 10 years in the future. Today he's hungry. So the issue of delayed gratification is something that we have to address in our community, because a lot of our poor do not know how to delay their gratification. They just don't know, because it's difficult to, and it's unfair to ask them to, because I don't think it's fair to ask any starving child to wait a week. You know what I mean? So I think that plays into our sexualization issues and our criminal element. We've now, of course, the guys have been talking about this for a while. I do want to hear from Michi again. I'm sorry, not Michi, Riley. So, Riley, go ahead and give us some of your thoughts on what we were just talking about.
I do think that like black people are more expressive, but like I don't want to get that like I feel like big we get bored in that representation, because like how like Asian women have like that stereotype that they're gonna be like submissive and cook and clean and be a maid all the time. I don't want people like looking at me and expecting me to be like that stereotype that that shows up.
Okay. So you think what do you think is the black, because we all know the black woman stereotype is being basically angry all the time. You say that you don't really want to follow that stereotype, or you don't want to be seen as kind of super submissive and dainty and weak. What do you say?
I'm kind of like I don't want to be seen like I don't want to have the black woman stereotype pushed on me. I don't want to get like the same like stereotype. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like Asian women have this archetype, but I don't want to have the same archetype. That doesn't make sense. The angry stereotype for like the countries to come in. Does that make sense?
Right. You talking about the angry black woman stereotype. You don't want to fall into that category.
Yeah, or like the over sexualized thing, because I feel like it's a different representation.
How do you feel those categories damage or are a detriment to the mentality or the mental health of black women as a whole in the black community? How do you feel it detriments them? Especially the angry black woman stereotype. You as an up and coming black woman who's gonna have to deal with other communities while you're in your studies or while you're going to school or at your job. Do you think do you think it's already playing a detriment into your head because you don't want to fall into that so much, but it's gonna come up? Like, does it stress you out or anything like that? Like, what do you think about those type of things?
It does kind of stress me out based on how I react to things. So like a lot of things I don't like react a lot to, because like those like think I'm just being a typical black woman, like we were like bringing up before.
Okay. Understood. So like
In terms of the angry black woman, though, man, people need to remember that there's really a causality behind that. It's not like I don't know a black woman allowed to just wake up upset for no damn reason, bro. Like you gotta give her a reason. It starts from somewhere, and I think the people that paint that stereotype don't want to accept responsibility for what brought that about.
I really agree with that. I do agree with that. Like a lot. Like I mean, here's one thing that I've seen that I've seen a lot. I have seen of course there are difficult people out there. There are people of any race who are difficult. So I have seen black women be very very difficult. You know what I mean? And I've seen white women be very very difficult. We call them Karens. You know what I'm saying? I've seen Hispanic women be difficult. So it's not just a black woman thing to just be difficult with people. You feel me? But like I think it's a stereotype for us because one thing I've said before is that when white America has a cold, black America catches pneumonia. You know what I mean? Anything that's negative on their end amplifies when it's us, and that's it's unfair. But one thing that I have seen is that I'm not sure if this happens in other communities, but I have seen a trend within ours that a lot of our women kind of take pride in being difficult to deal with, and I don't want this trend to I don't want that meme to continue. You know what I mean? Because we kind of make a joke out of it, where being difficult to deal with is kind of like a black thing. You can't handle someone being strong. I mean, it's not that being difficult and being unpleasant. No one wants to be around that. You feel me? Like humans, we always take the path of least resistance. I'm gonna want a difficult person. So I do want to. I don't think it's something that's a huge trend or a huge meme in our community, but I do see it's kind of growing, and I don't want that to happen. You know, what I mean, we shouldn't be taking pride in being difficult. I want to know your thoughts on that. We haven't heard from Moth a lot. Let's hear from you, Moth.
Yeah. So what was the last question that you said? Should we take pride in being difficult?
No, what I'm saying is that I'm starting to kind of see a trend or a meme within our community, especially our dating scene, of kind of being prideful of being difficult to deal with, and that's a detriment to us. I believe we shouldn't take pride in being difficult. You see what I mean? And I want you to respond to what Fed just basically. Black women don't wake up angry. You know what I mean? Something caused that. They just don't wake up angry. So like, what are some of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I do agree that I would agree. No one should take pride in being difficult, especially in the dating scene, because I guess, like me, for example, if I see a girl with an attitude, like, I mean, a little bit is okay, but like if you just like have an attitude, like I'm a gentleman, I'm open your door for you, I'm gonna put your seat back, stuff like that. If we just out here like, just being stuck up, having an attitude because you feel like you're the shit, or whatever it is you feel like, of course, like I'm gonna be like, no, I'm not interested in you. Like why would I want to talk to you? Like, give me one reason. Like, you fine. That's not enough though. You just look good, but you ugly. Like the way you act, the way you talk to me, like is filthy. Like I don't see that as attractive. Like just not something that ever turned me on. So like I guess when I do go for a woman, like that's one of the, I guess it takes a man to also have his own boundaries, right? Like a man gotta also have his own expectations for a woman too. And for me that's one of them. I just, like, you can't have an attitude. Like, you can't just be stuck up. You can't just be.
I'm gonna take it a step further. So I like what you're saying. So my thing is, for me, being a married man and everything, it's like my wife is a strong woman. My thing is, any quality that anyone would deem unpleasant about you, how are you, if it is an unpleasant quality, which is subjective, depending on who you ask, using this strength or attitude you may have per se to help us out? Are you using it in places where you don't want to tolerate no bullshit, where you see, foul things taking place, where you're putting your foot down because you see something wrong being happening, that it can prevent something from taking place in our lives that could be a detriment to us? Like, how is that attitude of yours helping us? Because if it isn't, then now we have an issue that's harming both of us. But if it's because everything's cool in moderation except meth, not even once. Everything, if you can, use that attitude of yours in a way that exemplifies strength and does good for us in our way to trying to ascend to a different place to where we progress, I'm all for it. But if it serves absolutely no purpose, then hell yeah, like we can't have that.
Right. And you're right about that, because most, like, if her attitude was more like on a business mind, or more like a leading type of attitude, like that honestly would be okay for me, because that's a different type of attitude. Like that's a mindset actually, like she got a different mindset. So yeah, I'll like that. You know, I'll like a girl with a leader, independent type mindset, but just not like, you know what, y'all know what I mean. Not stuck up with it. Like you open her door for you, like she just walked past, like she's entitled to that. Like no, say thank you. You know, like
Like, you know,
yeah, that's
the,
all I ask for. Like just say thank you. Like it ain't much, you know, and you know, like and stuff, just stuff like that. And then when you know you ask them a question, something personal, like mind your business. Like when they will ask you the same question, and expect you to answer it. Like, wait,
you
is
feel me?
it not my business? Like, wait, what happened? You know, like so. It's just like and this is stereotype too, but you know, I dated a lot, man. Like I mean, I'm a whole lot, you know, and like I just realized that I just don't want a girl with an attitude, and like she shouldn't be. No girl should be okay with that because these days, if I was to meet, well, you know, I'm got a girlfriend now, but if I was to meet somebody, like I would feel like if they had an attitude, I just wouldn't even want to talk to them. You know, like why waste my time? And that's with anybody too, even friends, you know, even coworkers. Like I just don't deal with that.
Yeah. I agree. Completely agree. I think Fed is gonna be right back. He had to drop off real quick. He'll be right back. But yeah, I agree. I completely agree that no one wants to deal with an unpleasant person. No one wants to deal with a difficult person.
My
We do
bad.
have a comment here from one of our her name is Bubbly1009. A lot of us black women don't take pride in being difficult. We're strong minded and don't take the BS. They don't take bullshit, and that
Ooh,
I agree with. You know what I mean?
I'm
I
gonna
really agree
raise
with
my
it.
hand for that.
They're strong minded and they don't take bullshit. I think a lot of our society kind of expects us to take the bullshit, which circles, which is a perfect circle around to what I was saying before. You know, because black people we're so reactionary. We don't want to seem, a certain type of way to the dominant society, which is why we take bad service and still tip a lot, which is why we take microaggression and still work with people, and we don't really, and we because we don't want to seem like that angry black man. We don't want to seem like that angry black person. We don't want
We're
to seem like the bad
reactionary
tipper. We don't want to fulfill the
because
stereotype.
I'm glad
You
you
know what I
said
mean?
that. Cause see, I feel like we are largely proactive, just to like keep from scaring, white counterparts. Because whenever we're proactive, it's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
you really don't want us to like take the first step ahead of you or take initiative because y'all are not gonna like the results. But if we go, behind whatever y'all do first, it's like we don't have the upper hand when we're reacting to things. And maybe that's the way to prefer, but that's not the way it should be. Now, as far as like, a strong black woman that doesn't take any bullshit, okay, bullshit is subjective. What bullshit are you not taking? Where did it start? What do you consider to be BS in that particular instance? And then what do you consider strong minded? Like, are you that's subjective. I would hear you someone's like, if you're gonna have an attitude, my thing is how do we take that and aim that a direction that helps as opposed to just like shooting first with the attitude and asking questions later and think I'm still gonna like ask for your phone number like I'm walking out because you're scaring me right now.
Mhm. Yeah. I feel that. I mean, that it really comes full circle. Yeah, me from it really comes full circle is what I was saying before. Like we've gone through years and years of us just taking BS, that we're at that point now where we just don't want to take it. You know what I mean? But we don't want to. It puts us in a no win situation, because if we don't take it, we fulfill the angry black man, angry black woman stereotype. If we do take it, we basically being like, we some hoe ass niggas, and I ain't no hoe. I ain't no pie. You feel me, Fed? I ain't pie. So so we're not taking that. Yeah, you feel what I'm saying? And we shouldn't. Now, it's completely true. Now there is a certain threshold that I believe that you're correct on. You need to basically define what is the BS that you're not gonna take. Because one thing that I've always said, that I've told everyone before, is that really believing something is not the same thing as knowing it. And I got that from another YouTube channel called Aaron Raw. I should check him out. But like he said this before, and he's absolutely right. Just believing in something and just feeling something is not the same thing as knowing it. You know what I mean? So just because you feel something is BS does not mean that it is. Just because you believe somebody's BSing you doesn't mean they are. You know what I mean? So you have to go more you have to go off more than just you feeling a certain type of way. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, or just you believing something. You like
And,
if you know that you're being BS'd around, then of course don't take it. If you absolutely know it.
and this is
But
where
like if you have a
conversation
feeling,
needs to come in.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? If you just have a feeling of it, about it, like gauge it first, make sure that you know what you're talking about, and then catch that attitude if you need to. You feel me?
Or walk. It's always easy to walk.
Yeah, walking is easy, and sometimes walking is healthy. And I believe we can end this conversation here because the Lakers have beaten the Heat for the NBA Finals, and
What?
they are the champs.
Yep.
Yep, Lakers in 6.
Huh?
Lakers
Gay?
in 6.
Lakers in 6.
Yeah, man, Lakers in 6.
Well, they was
I
up by
wanted it to
30.
be Heat. I wanted it to be Heat in 7. Yeah, I wanted it to be Heat in 7, but I had a feeling it was gonna be Lakers in 6.
Yeah, I'm
LeBron
sorry.
was
When
gonna
I
be
when
his
I
shit.
saw the game and I saw it was like 42-27 the second, I was like, oh man, they they angry.
But hey,
Mhm.
hey, Bossy, it was
I mean,
something you were saying earlier. I think you started off saying something about like the drug dealers. Is it, some people that like became drug dealers because they
they
wasn't
couldn't
making
delay gratification.
they wasn't making $800 a week or something like that. But see, that's one of the reasons why I always say like we need to get back into trades, because think about it. If a kid get out of high school, let's say 17, 18 years old, and he just decide, hey, I want to be a plumber, I want to be an electrician. Okay, like in 4 years he can get a journeyman's license. He can go anywhere, pretty much like any company, and say, hey, I'm a journeyman. That's in 4 years. He got a card to say, hey, I'm worth 80 grand. Straight up, like, here you go. This is the proof right here. Like I got a card that says I'm worth 80 grand. Like, and that's what
Mhm,
only going to be like 22 years old making 80 grand. I
mhm.
mean, come on, like that's money. You never have a struggle, and all you gotta do is keep going. And in 4 more years, you can own your own business. You'll be a master. So 8 years, that's the same amount of time it takes to be a doctor. You know what I'm saying? But in 8 years, you can be a millionaire off of just doing some hard work. Like, so I feel like we just need to get our brothers back into doing that. And like that would just change the stereotype. I think that even will make women, want to be with us and look at us better, and that would put us in a better position to take care of our families. Because we know we have $800 coming in, no problem. Like just because we work hard, like we get that like nothing. Like, and people just don't realize how fast that money really is. Like just think about 4 people call you in one day to do a job for you, and the minimum you're gonna charge could be like $100, but $400 in one day, that's good money alone. But most likely it's gonna be like 200, 400, $900 jobs. And like so you're making all that in one day, and like man, your family's good. You're not
I
struggling.
feel like in that particular instance, it's all about, and I hate this about our generation, not even black people, just like our generation in whole, especially the people coming after us, where it's not about how something is, it's about how it looks. There's nothing alluring about saying, yo, I'm fucking the plumber.
No, he's right. He's
There's
absolutely
literally
right, man.
nothing. There's nothing about it. I watched the interview on Vlad TV where Kareem Super Steppin said, "Yo, nobody cared when I was fucking the mailman, the postmaster of my city, because she had dated a mailman for like 6 years. She was dating the postmaster. Them guys make around 102K a year being the postmaster. But when she started fucking Lil Wayne, it was a problem because she's like, wait a minute. It was cool when it was the postman. Nobody cared, but because it was Lil Wayne, oh, wait a minute. This ain't even about me at this point. But in our situation, I feel like the women in question or whoever doesn't have the job, whatever, makes it about them. It's like, so the hell with the fact that I got a good job and I'm taking care of us. You worried about how you look to your friends by saying, I'm a like mechanical engineer as to, being a center for the Houston Rockets or something. Well, if that's where your values lie, then, that's something you need to figure out on your own. I ain't got time for that. Like, I'm not here to make you look good. I'm here for us to be well. That's just it.
And with that, I think we could end here because that's gonna be our next conversation of toxicity in our dating scene. You know what I mean? Of like he's absolutely right how people are more worried about how things look than the actual function of what's happening. You feel me? I completely agree with you, Moff, that we need to bring trades back to our schools. I believe every single student from high school should graduate with a trade in their hands. You know what I mean? Just like you said, in 4 years, you could be a journeyman. So, I mean, we can start it off as a freshman, you're an apprentice. So by the time you graduate high school, you're a journeyman. You can
And
get
you
out
will
of high
put
school making
far
millions.
more
Yeah,
people
that's great, man.
into the workforce doing that too.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And now these kids ain't gotta be, they ain't gotta be, drug dealers now out of high school, or they ain't gotta drop out at 16. They could be like, hold on, I'm an apprentice. I'm a sophomore in high school, but I could work part time at this plumbing or this electrician place and get $800 a week, or get $500 on the weekend for doing a job.
Plot
Why I
twist.
gotta flip cracks for nothing? You know what I mean?
On top of that, they saving money, and by getting a sense of pride in what they do from a young age, it changes the mentality of even the way they choose to date the woman that approach them when they see they got a little check in on them. It's like, oh, you ain't with it. Well, guess what? The woman I'm going to end up with don't mind her brother getting dirty under some pipes, or don't mind me getting my fingers, a little greasy from like being a mechanic or fixing on boats and whatever. Like that changes, that creates a whole nother ecosystem, man, from like young men that are skilled, prideful, going a certain direction already because of discipline. Because these jobs are not only like they're easy to get but hard to master, but they require a lot of discipline. That like it's almost like going to the damn services. Real shit. Like that can radiate into so many other areas, man. So many other areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Exactly. And with that, let's go ahead and start wrapping this up. We're about an hour and 20 into this. Let's go ahead and give our last thoughts. Riley, go ahead and give us your last thoughts, please.
What I want to be saying that, like, if we're gonna deal with stereotypes, is that like how like the black community will like not accept you for not acting a certain way, or like call out their own black people, like, oh, you like this type of music? Oh, you're not acting black enough. I feel like that's another toxic stereotype thing we have within our community.
All right, for sure. And Moth, let's go ahead and what are your last thoughts on tonight, bro?
I think this is a good opening. We had a good conversation. Thank you for joining us, Federal. Appreciate it. I think we
No
covered a
doubt.
lot of good topics today. Ultimately, I got got to know everybody a little bit better, and I don't know. I just looking forward to doing it again next week. Oh, Michi, what's up?
Michi's
I
back.
am so
How's it going,
sorry.
Michi?
I'm good.
Yeah, Michi, we were just about to wrap up. I'm not sure if you were able to hear the rest of the show, but we were just about to wrap up. We're talking about getting trades back into school, and basically talking about delayed gratification, how we can know how to delay our satisfaction, when it comes to money, when it comes to relationships, and all of that. But we're gonna go ahead and about to we're just doing a roundtable closeout of our thoughts. What are your last thoughts tonight, Michi?
Well, I'll definitely have to watch the live podcast. But overall, I feel like um, sorry, trying to get my thoughts together actually. But I mean, the conversation was good. I felt like I'm sorry, my thoughts are not together. It was good. That's all I can say right now.
All right, that's not a problem. Fed, biggest homies Federal Ranger, go ahead and give us your outro and your final thoughts of the night.
Fuck the Lakers, Heat Nation, my nigga. What you mean? Anyways, ultimately, while stereotypes do have a good base of truth to them, obviously what takes place as far as like what happens next due to those stereotypes is all choice, because you can dispel the stereotype, or separate the truths from the lies in it, or you could double down on it and like turn, you know, something into a reality for people that think it is what it is. Like, make it what it is, because perception can be reality to a lot of people, but for those that make the smart decisions, it's not reality. And you know, you can decide what happens next as far as, you know, how you're thought about and how that can or cannot affect you. It's really your choice.
All right. My final thoughts for the night is while a lot of stereotypes have a kernel of truth, most stereotypes are a kernel of truth, but an oakwood tree of lies and exaggerations. And we all have to remember that. You know what I mean? People aren't caricatures. People are individuals with their own thoughts, their own actions, and their own motivations. We all need to remember that. Just like I said before, really believing something is not the same thing as knowing it. You know what I mean? So always get the truth. Make sure you have the absolute truth. Always get the facts before your feelings, you know? And protect Black women, of course. I'm always gonna say that. Black women over everything. Nubian queens all day. And I really hope that we have more of these productive conversations. And as far as our community goes, I hope we grow. I hope that we learn how to, like I said, delay gratification, and we learn that, you know, we're all in this together. We need more unity than now, more than ever. And that's my thoughts for tonight. And we'll see you guys next week for next Saturday. Our subject then is going to be niggas versus Black people. That's a conversation that you might want to be part of, Fed. And
You would
we'll
stay there
see you
with me
guys.
in here. Come on, man.
we talked about that before. Remember a couple of years back? We talked about that before.
I'm straight nigga 5. Oh, folks, please go vote,
Man.
because damn it, it don't matter who you want to vote for. I know I can't
This
do
was
4 more years of this bullshit. Oh no.
This was a great conversation, guys. I hope to see you all next week. All right.
All right.
Later.
Y'all have a good night.
All right. Have a good night.